The way that Westboro Baptist Church is behaving is atrocious. God believes in love, tolerance, and acceptance. This church has none of that. Now they wish to say that God allowed this travesty to happen. There were children murdered. How could anyone think that God would allow children to die like this? They're all crazier than even I thought was possible. I have a lot of patience and tolerance, but these sickos are pushing it hard. To any Westboro members watching and listening to this, you may think that it's awesome that you're getting all of this attention. See the video in the description for what I'm talking about. Pay close attention at 50 seconds. The guy actually sounds happy to have a window broken and glass shards all over him. Here's a hard fact for you. There's now a petition out to turn your precious little church into a legally recognized hate crime. And in case you haven't figured it out, not many people are happy with you. You even have Anonymous after you. And I guess you have to be pretty desperate for attention to keep doing this. You may think you're doing God's work, but you're wrong. God condemns murder. He has a commandment for it. Thou shalt not kill. Does that ring any bells that you might have left in your heads? Or have all the bells running away? How would you feel if your children had been the victims? You would grieve, rant, rave. You don't want to go after the killer, even if you knew they were already dead. That's how these poor grieving families feel. The same thing goes for them. No matter if the children in question were the little young ones in the school attending it, or the grown ones teaching it, they were still somebody's child. Still somebody's husband, wife, brother, sister, friend, aunt, uncle, cousin, niece, nephew. They're still human, still living. In fact, the only thing that's not human here is your behavior. You're structured like humans. You're built to function like humans, except maybe in the head. But you're not. You're not functioning the way the rest of us are. Have you not noticed everybody is grieving over this mass murder of these children and adults? I don't get why you think that God wants this to happen. Oh my God, people are gay, they're lesbian. My God, we're all children. Somehow. Why do you think God made the family structure the way He did? 2 parents and children. It symbolizes how we are to Him. We're His children. And I don't care if one of your little church members is technologically smart enough to find a way to remove the cover on this. Because I have put a nice little picture up. In case you haven't noticed, I'm not real big on my face being shown. But if you find a way to actually see my face behind that little cover, know this. I'm not the only one who thinks you're nice. I'm not the only one who hates what you're doing. I don't hate you per se. I hate the way you think, and I hate the way you act. You're smearing God's name into the mud, and I hope He brings something. It doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be negative. I hope He brings something into your lives that helps you see how wrong you really are. You can get mad at me. You can get mad at the other people who have posted videos, comments, rants, raves of all kinds. Go look for them. They're everywhere. Facebook, Twitter. Even simple little sites, little handmade sites from people are popping up everywhere against you. Even YouTube is full of these things. How people hate what you've done. There are a lot of people that are ranting, raving, screaming, yelling, and cussing at you for what you're doing. I'm not going to rant. I'm not going to rave. I'm not going to get loud or mean or rude. Well, you may think I'm going to be rude, but I don't care. Your behavior is beyond rude. Your behavior is uncalled for, unquestionably uncalled for. There are children dying out there of disease and famine every day. We lose those precious little angels more and more than we need to. Now some poor kid who, from what I hear, has something wrong with him, several mental illnesses, and his parents didn't get him any help. He went off and offed a bunch of other kids. That was wrong. So was it God's plan that that poor little boy grow up in misery with his problems and never get the help he deserved? Was it his plan that he then go into a school full of innocent young children and adults and shoot 27, I think 26 or 27 people? Was it his plan for heroes like Victoria Soto, who, by the way, was in that school that day? She hid her kids, her little first graders, in cabinets and closets and asked them to be as quiet as they could stand. She told the shooter that her kids were in the gym and he gunned her down right there at her classroom. Those children heard their teacher die. They may not have seen it because they may have been too scared to come out, but they heard it. They are still alive, though, because of Miss Soto. To her family, your daughter is an amazing woman. I can't think of a better person than her. I don't really want to cry on camera. But when I read about what your daughter did, I was so close to tears that I had to get away from the computer for a little bit. I'm about to tears again. She is an example of bravery that I wish everyone in this country could show. Because if we all were brave and stood up to people like Westboro a little more firmly, they wouldn't have room to display their hatred. The parents of the poor boy who went off and killed his children, maybe they couldn't afford to get him help. Maybe that's just it. I grew up probably needing help myself. That's probably why I turned out the way I am. I'm not crazy enough to go shooting up a school. No, I'm not in that kind of desperate situation mentally. That poor kid, if everything I've heard was true, was probably pretty much in torture day and night, mentally. To his family, I'm sorry you've lost your child. You're grieving just like the rest of them. That entire community has my deepest sympathy. Your son is gone. So are 20 other children, small children, and at least 6 other adults. My heart and soul goes out to that town. I can't really finish this off without saying that if I had been a lot closer to this situation than what I am, I probably wouldn't be making this video because I probably couldn't face a camera talking about it right now. But back to Westboro. This video is pretty much for you guys. I hope you can one day see, even if it takes the United States of America seeing you as a hate group legally and in every other aspect manage to see things. I hope one day you see where you went wrong. No one in that town, the shooter, the victims, deserve to die. You're promoting death. You have Anonymous chasing you down, trying to leak your information to everyone they can. Actually, I think they succeeded. And they're pretty decentralized. There's no way to really track them down to just one location. They're pretty much everywhere, like they say. Honestly, that's the one time I think I've been glad to hear Anonymous going to hack someone. I usually don't agree with them. But for once, I can honestly say, Anonymous, you rock. Thank you for showing us that there are people who will not sit quietly by. If I had a way to personally get up and become active about it, well, a little more proactive about it than this, I would. But Westboro, you may think They're picketing military funerals, protesting the LGBT community, if you will, protesting their rights, and you think that's good. But if God is really the way that everyone says he is, and I'm fairly sure he is, a God of love, acceptance, tolerance, then he will, even if it seems a little slower in everyone else's minds, accept them. He may not like them being that way. It may be his personal thing that he doesn't like people being that way. But he left us with free will to see where we would go with it. As a result, there are lesbians, there are gay men, there are bisexual people, there are transgender people, there are straight people, quite a few of us still. Personally, I'm straight. Can't say that I am anything else. I'm not gonna say I hate you because you don't love the way I do, like you preach, Westboro. But the hatred you're trying to sow into the minds of the people of this country will stop. And it will stop now. You can call me whatever you want if you are reading my name on my profile right now. Call me only one thing. Westboro, I'm your enemy. Anybody who stands against you, well, I'm their friend. Lady Apache, out.